gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to yet another episode of the 3 and the 13 show. I'm 3, jersey number 3, Varun.
And I am 13, jersey number 13, Raghav.
Student athlete. There's only one player who comes to our mind that epitomizes that term. Our very own, the Indian national women's football team vice captain, Dalima Chhibber. She is right now studying at the University of Manitoba, and that's how we have her telling us her life story for all of us to be inspired. And we shall have fun along the way. We shall try and get to know who she is and what is she made of.
Hi everyone.
So Dalima, we all know that initially you started a career as an athlete and your parents kind of pushed you for it. Individual sport, glory, you were doing really well. What made you jump to this side of the world wherein you found football to be your calling?
Yes, I started my career with athletics, with track and field, and my parents supported me to take track and field because it was an individual sport, and also like football at that time was not a sport that was very well known, especially in women. So my parents also always emphasized on taking track and field because it was an individual sport and I could like all that would matter was like my effort and my hard work and the results that I would get. So but I moved on to football. I chose that as my my professional career because I got to represent the country. I got to play for the country in football at a very young age, and it was a sport that once I started playing, I really started enjoying it, and I really used to find it interesting, and there was so much that you could do as compared to track and field, because track and field was all about just running in circles and like just running straight. But when I started playing football with the guys back in those days, I fell in love with that game, and it was so enjoyable, and there's so much that you can do, there's so much that you can learn, and there's like, you know, you have a team to play with, and you get to bond with the other players, and you get to, like, you know, work on the field with other players. And I guess that is what made me fall in love with the game. Also my first ever professional tournament was U19 national school games when I was 11 years old, and I got to play for the state, and I got to see what it was actually like and what it felt like to play for a team professionally and to be a part of the team. And I was only 11 years old, and after that I kept on playing for the Delhi state team, and I got a call for U14 national team where I got to play, and I was the second highest scorer for the national team, and in the U14 AFC Girls Football Festival. So I guess from there I just started looking forward to getting that opportunity to be on the field, to score more goals, to score as many goals as I could. And I guess that is what kept me going, and that is what made me shift from track and field to football.
This is just amazing, Dalima. You have been a part of the national team since you were 13, and that's a very young age to be a part of the national team. You have been part of all the youth national teams from under 14 to under 16 to under 19, and you were also the captain of under 19 national team. So how has the journey been for you with the Indian national football team?
So my journey in the national team, starting from U14 to the senior national team and being the captain for the U19 team, has been great. I guess it has been a lot of fun, and the funny part is about my journey that for every age category, I played a different position for every category that I played for the national team. So U14, I started as a striker and as a right winger. U16, I played as a center midfielder. U19, I played as a centre back, and with the senior team, I play as a right full back, and I have played as a centre back as well. So I guess it has been quite a journey, because I started playing for the national team when I was 13 years old, and now I am 22, and I made it through U16. And when I played U16, I was looking forward to go to U19 so that I could, because my goal was to reach the senior team and be able to play for the senior team. And then when I was playing for U19, I got a chance to be the captain of the team, and I guess there's no better feeling. There's nothing better than leading a team, like leading your country, and like, representing 1.3 billion people back home in the AFC qualifiers. So my journey has been quite of a journey. There's so much that I've learned and so much that I've developed as a player and also as a human being. Always my life always revolved around shuffling from schoolwork and school and classes to the field and my practices and national team camps and everything. So it has been a roller coaster ride for sure. And and I guess also what helped me develop as a better player was that I was regularly involved with the national teams from U14 to U16 to U19. It definitely required maintaining all the practices and working really hard and not missing a practice session. And I guess that is how my journey has been, always being on the field and trying to do my best and trying to work hard and practicing more and more, because when you already come from a different age group, it is your chance you have to work harder, and you have to prove that you are actually better, because people will be looking up to you and people will be looking at you, like you will be in the highlights. So it has been great. My journey has been great, and it was full of ups and downs and a lot of moments that I look up to and a lot of moments that I will always cherish. So many friends that I got to make along my journey, so many people that I got to share some amazing memories with, so many good friends from different parts of India. So my journey with the Indian national team has been amazing, and I guess I've developed more and more as a person and as a player.
Hi, I'm Mansi Adya. I play for the Dream Team, and I have a question for Dalima. Your father plays a crucial role in your life. He also used to be a coach. Were you the favorite one in his team, or the one who always got scolded?
Oh, that's a good question. Being my father being my coach. So with my father being my coach, I was the one who got scolded the most, because definitely there were a lot of expectations, and also I was the one that was always there on the field with him and who was always training, whereas there would be other girls who would not be as regular, who would miss out on training sessions, and as compared to how many hours I used to put in practice. So whenever I would not perform, I would be the one who would get a lot of thrashing, and a lot of thrashing in the sense I would get I would be scolded, and I would be screamed at, and yeah, that was me. Everybody on the team was my father's favorite. All the girls that used to play for the team were his favorite, and they were all of them were his daughters, but I was the one who used to take the scolding.
So, Dalima, not many know that you scored 92.7% in your class 12th exams, and you have always excelled in studies and on the field. How have you been able to make a balance between studies and football? And right now you are pursuing Masters of Psychology from University of Manitoba in Canada. So please tell us, how have you been able to manage all this?
Yes, I scored 92.7% in my 12th board exams, even though I was traveling with the national team, and that was the year actually when I was involved with the U19 national team, and I captained the U19 national team, and I went back home in November, by like the end of November, and it was already time for pre-boards, and like everybody was studying and everybody was giving the pre-board exams. And I actually, because I landed during the time when the first round of pre-boards was going on, I had to miss the first round of pre-boards. The principal allowed me to miss it, and that time was the time when I was actually making my projects and I was doing all my practical work. And I was studying, and then I got ready for, like, I gave the pre-boards round 2, and then I went on to give my pre-board exams, and I ended up securing 92.7%. And I guess most of it came from just my motivation to be able to break the stereotype and to be able to make a point that sports people can study as well, because there's something that I've always heard growing up, that sports people are not good in studies, and like, you know, sports people are like, they're not smart, and like, you know, they cannot do well in studies. But I guess that was something that I always wanted to make a point while I was graduating from school, while I was graduating from my 12th grade. And that is like what my motivation was, and it has always been, because for me as an individual, studies and playing go hand in hand, and like one cannot be the excuse for the other, or like to not be able to do it. And for me, managing in balancing studies and playing time equally did not come in that easy, but it wasn't that hard, and all it required was time management. So I just used to have like a schedule for myself, and like there used to be like divided time periods of like, you know, of study time, of playing time, of practicing time. If we actually look at a day, we have 24 hours, and we spend 7 to 8 hours sleeping, which still gives us a lot of time in the day. And it all just comes down to how you define and how you divide that amount of time of your day. Because even when you're like sleeping for 8 hours, it still gives you 16 hours. And in 16 hours, even if you are in school for say 8 hours, you still have 8 hours to go. And those 8 hours, you're not out on the field you know, practicing for those 8 hours. So study cannot be an excuse. So it just all comes down to how you divide the amount of hours and amount of time that is available to you and that you have. So for me, it was always about, when I was in school, I used to get up at 5 a.m. or like 6 a.m. sometimes, and I used to be in the school ground training 8 o'clock. And then after that 8 o'clock, I used to be in the classes. I used to be studying till 2 o'clock. I used to come home. I used to complete my homework, or like in the time from like after my school till my training time, before, like after having lunch. Or sometimes when there used to be free periods in school, I used to do my homework then, so that when I used to complete my homework in the school, if there used to be any free periods, I used to utilize the time after lunch resting or taking a nap before my practice. And then I used to go for my evening training, and when I used to come back from my evening training, I used to have dinner, and then I used to sit again for like 1 hour or 2 hours, and then study, like, you know, just read and like go through for like whatever we had done, like do some individual study, and then go off to sleep. So like that was my schedule, and that's how I had planned my days. And like, you know, sometimes when I was just so tired, I did not want to study, those were the days that I would actually, like, you know, think, like, just sit with my family in front of the television. But it was barely that I enjoyed sitting in front of the television, because for me it was like always that I was wasting time. that, like, I could utilize that time better. And definitely it was about having priorities set straight, and watching television was never a priority for me when it came down to that, because I knew that when I would be traveling with the national team, I would not have as much time to study, and I won't be going to school. So like if I would utilize my time right now, when I would be with the national team, there would be a lot of time that I would be devoting to football, and and otherwise as well, traveling with the team. So for me as a student athlete, it has always been about great time management, and setting my priority state of what needs to be done at what time.
So the Blue Pilgrims, the Indian fans, they want to know what's the difference between Canadian football and Indian football. The level, the styles, the playmakers, the coaches, the technicians, whatnot. What is it that gives the Canadian football the edge over us? Because we want to make sure that we are right there with the top footballing powers in the world.
So the advantages that Canadian football has ahead of India is that, first of all, the entire infrastructure and the layout of the league. Because here, for like the league time, there are home and away matches, so you're actually traveling to other places, and there are other teams that are traveling to yours, and you are constantly involved in movement, and then you're playing matches with each other, and like there's a set kind of a structure. There are like there's a defined season of like from this date, or like from like the starting of this month to like the starting of, or like till the end of this month, there's going to be like the season time, and then there's going to be an off season, and then for like 2 months before like the season, this time is going to be like the preseason. So I guess that is one of the things that give the Canadian football an edge over Indian football, because a defined structure is something which is very important, and it gives a lot of leverage to the countries which have such a defined professional structure, because then there is like a defined way for people to plan out, and to plan out the training sessions and like the team practices and everything, as compared to not having a defined structure, because then you do not know when the season's going to happen, or like when the matches are going to happen, and then you just collect the team 10 days before the tournament begins, or like the championship begins, and then you start playing. So like that does not really serve as a very good option of getting the team together and of getting them work together. And also I guess having a defined time period and having a defined schedule helps the team stay together and work accordingly as a team, and also individually on the players. And also like the game here is also like it's very physical, and the fitness aspect of it is something which is given a lot of attention, which again tends to put the game over here, tends to give an edge to the game over here as compared to India. So I guess that is the only one major thing that I have noticed, and according to me would make a lot of difference in India, because there's so much of talent in India, and like there's so many players, and there's so many talented players who can do wonders, but it's all about being involved with the team in a defined structure, or like in a defined schedule as a team, all around the year, or like at least 8 months out of 12 months in a year, which helps the team and the player grow as well.
So rapid fire. Any sports movie that inspired you to becoming a professional football player?
There is no specific movie that inspired me to become a professional football player, but I guess one really good football movie that I relate to and that motivates me and inspires me is The English Goal, because it's all about Santiago Munez, this hard work and like his perseverance to become to become a better player and like to work hard and everything. And I guess that is what motivates me, and I really like that movie. But one sports movie in general, which is not related to football, that really inspires me is Mary Kom. And it's not only the movie, but just the story of Mary Kom, which is very inspirational, and it's so motivating that Mary Kom as an individual and as a sports player has achieved the unbelievable, and her story and her drive to do better and to achieve more and more every day is commendable. And I guess she has crossed all the barriers, and like looking up to her just tells me that how much we women athletes, even in a society and in a country where women athletes are not supported, what we are capable of, and we're capable of breaking the barriers to achieve the dreams that we look forward to. So I guess that is one movie that I really like, and a story of a player.
If you were to have a FIFA card, what would your rating be? 90s? 99? 98? Come on, let us know.
I guess everybody else would be a better person to rate, but if I would have to give a little bit of rating to myself, I would say probably 100. But no, just kidding. I guess 82. I would probably rate myself 82.
Your dream five-a-side team would be your ex-players, current players, and players that you have always loved.
A dream five-a-side team from like the world female football players. I would have Hope Solo in the goal for sure. I would have Carly Lloyd, the person who I follow, like I'm a big follower of. Martha for sure, and I would have Wendy Renard, and I would have Samantha Kerr. So that would be my like dream five-a-side team for like women football players from around the globe. But if it has to be a dream five-a-side team from the Indian national women's team players, I would have Bala Devi and Bem Devi for sure. I would have Sashmita Malik. I would have Aditi in the goal, and I would have myself.
So as we covered before, that athletics, track and field were your first love, or where you started from. So if you were not to be a footballer today, would you have been a track and field star? Or if not a track and field star, what would you want to be?
I guess for sure, like there's no doubt, if I wouldn't have been playing football, I would have for sure been a track and field athlete, because even when I was playing soccer, even when I was playing football, I was doing track and field side by side, and I did track and field for my university, for my college, and for my school, and I was competing in zonals, interzonals, and everything. And I qualified for nationals as well, but my nationals of track and field would always clash with football nationals, so I would always choose football nationals over the track and field nationals. So I guess if football wouldn't have been there, I would have for sure been a professional track and field player.
Would you rather choose Canada's freezing cold weather or India's 45 degrees summer?
I guess I would choose Canada's freezing cold winter, because it's easier to keep yourself warm in the cold rather than trying to keep yourself cool in the 45 degrees in the summer, because it's so hard. It's anyways so hard to go out in both of these weathers. But I would rather choose the cold over the hot.
Would you rather win the Ballon d'Or and no club trophies at all, or win all that you can at the club level, all the trophies that you can, and no Ballon d'Or?
I guess I would rather choose winning the trophy, all the club trophies, like whatever the club trophies I would be able to win with the club, along with winning the Ballon d'Or and like working hard to win the Ballon d'Or. But I guess my pick would be Ballon d'Or, because I guess it's like a dream. It's like a dream trophy that everybody, like every footballer, aspires to achieve, and like there's nothing better than Ballon d'Or, or like, you know, nothing bigger than Ballon d'Or. And I guess, yeah, Ballon d'Or. Like I would choose Ballon d'Or because it's a dream, and it's a dream of every footballer, and I don't think anybody would want to choose anything except for Ballon d'Or.
So Gokulam Kerala or Manitoba, which is your favorite team?
I guess in India, my favorite team to play for is Gokulam Kerala, and here in Canada, my favorite team to play for is the Manitoba Bisons.
Alright, which feeling was better? Full ride scholarship to the University of Manitoba, or that 40-yard screamer against Nepal?
No doubt, hands down, my 40-yard free kick against Nepal, because the feeling after scoring that goal for the national team, that too in a final match, and getting it from a free kick from that distance, there's nothing that can match that feeling of scoring a goal for the national team in the final match. And even though if it wouldn't have been a free kick, even if it would have just been a goal scored for the national team in one of the final matches, I guess I would always choose that over anything else. So my pick would be 40-yard free kick against Nepal.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Her very own story, her very own words for all of us to be inspired. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. Next week we bring to you yet another inspirational story for all of us to become the best version of ourselves, with looking at what these people are, what they do, how they do it. Till then, take care.